Absolutely. So let's talk a little bit more about content. We did talk a little bit about video, but what other, when we're doing PR today, I mean, everybody knows this, right? If you do a tweet, you add a photograph, you get more tweets, right? Every social platform. Well, guess what? PR is exactly the same way. We talked a little bit about this just a second ago. People do not learn by reading anymore. Except for me, I'm part of the 37%. So you have to start visualizing your PR program, especially with the digital platforms like Instagram and things like that. So how are you guys changing your PR program? Are you finding that you're creating more multimedia? Are you finding that your PR program right now is still very text only? Is there a drive from the top, especially from the agency? Are you seeing more and more clients asking you for visual versions of their news versus text?
I think it's something where, yes, absolutely. Yes to all those questions. Visual is a lot more important. It's really, everything is shorter and bite-sized, so your press release is going to be, it can be less than half a page, and then you have like a video or a visual.
You know, they call that snackable content. In case you see that anywhere else, that's exactly what they're talking about. And the concept is that I'm going to view it on my phone, so therefore it should be short, sweet, and get my attention.
Yeah, exactly. And that's something that, you know, an example that comes to mind is with Los Angeles County. I worked on a project last year with them on educating their department heads on how to use Twitter, because they were finding that by the time they sent out a press release, it was already, the news had already broken on Twitter. So, you know, they're changing up their entire communication strategy to send out the news in short 140-character messages with an image or a video, and finding that works, that's so much more effective for them. So I think that's a great example, just thinking about how your audience wants to receive the content and then delivering on it. So video, images, very short, is going to be a lot more effective in a lot of cases.
I'll give a quick tactical example of that just very quickly. Amazon Kindle Fire, when they released, they did a press release, and then they broke their press release down, and they looked at the audience for the Kindle Fire, and this was a launch release, and they said this audience, this Kindle Fire, this device has 14 distinct audiences. And each distinct audience, there's something about this device that's different that audience will like. So for their seniors, it was the Mayday button. So what they did is they took their press release and they issued it out. Then they created 14 different influencer groups. Well, actually, they did this. They identified seniors, and they gave each of them their 14. Each gave their own individual audience. And then when the press release launched, you had all of these 14 different groups of people promoting the Kindle Fire, highlighting the one feature that was relevant to them. So that's a great way to sort of snack size your content. Take your press release, or your news release, your document, and break it down into why it matters to each audience, and then create a message or an update just for that audience that features just what's relevant to them. Sorry guys, go ahead.
And as far as, I agree with the snackable content, because each audience is different, and depending on who you're talking to, for us as far as content creation outside of text, we started doing GIFs, which are these animated kind of like the stick figures walking to a store or something, the animated images, and a lot of media have picked up on that because they're very short. They're like a snackable video.
Do you know how to create those? Super easy. Do you know you can take a YouTube link, and after the www in the YouTube link, type in the word GIF, GIF, and then let the YouTube keep the whole URL the same, just type in GIF right there, and it'll pull up a GIF maker. And it will give you the embed code, it will give you the file, and it will give you a link.
I didn't know that.
I just did my first GIF file. By the way, just did my first GIF files this week, or this month. Amazing success. Amazing success. If you create an animated video, it doesn't work so well with a human video, because then they just look crazy. Amazing, amazing idea.
Wow, we have somebody in creative who does that.
Not anymore.
Secret. So
I want to talk about something that we did.
Perfect.
Yeah.
So I want to give an example of both the best and the worst of an event that can happen, right? And Heather and I worked on this together. So for many years, Sprint was an NBA sponsor, and they would take an NBA star at great cost and bring them out. And what was the goal of bringing an NBA star out to the community? Anyone? What do you think their goal for Sprint would be? get traffic in the store, right? So we actually did something with Pau Gasol here in LA. Remember when Pau played for the Lakers? Back. So anyway, we brought Pau to Westchester to a community center, and working with social media and with community groups, we packed the place. Kids, families, adults, everyone was there. We had every single news crew there. We had written press there. We had our own cameras there. And then we brought him after the event where he played a game of like horse, but of course we called it sprint, you know, for shooting baskets with kids, made great coverage. We took him afterwards to a local Sprint store, and people lined up around the block in a not so great neighborhood to have an autographed picture with Pau Gasol. Sounds great. What did we do wrong? Do you want to answer or should I? Video looked great. Coverage was great. We didn't have good sound. We didn't mic the kids. We didn't mic Pau. So we have a camera shooting, but we couldn't pick up what they were saying. It made for lousy recuts of short video. So that's a good and a bad story. I learned a lot from that, as being something that was over the hook, terrific, but also, gosh, it could have gone so much further. Right?
Yeah.